Aachen Hauptbahnhof, the main railway station in the German city of Aachen, not too far away from both the Belgium and the Dutch border. From here on, we'll be traveling along a regional train to Liège in Belgium. So join me along this train ride between the two biggest cities in this European region. Join me on board of this regional train between Aachen in Germany and Liège in Belgium. For now, let's get this video on the track and let's roll the intro. We start this international regional railway journey at the railway station of Aachen, closely located to the border with both the Netherlands and Belgium. From here on, you find quite a lot of buses, and some of these buses also go to the Netherlands. However, we will be taking the train today. If you're traveling by bus, information about departing buses has been given crystal clear. It's easy to go from and to here by public transportation, but also if you go here by bike, this is possible. At the site I noticed this bike sharing program. Honestly, I don't know exactly how it works, but it shouldn't be too difficult. If you are a local and you want to go here by bike, I noticed quite some bikes and there are some bicycle spots, but I think they can make some more. A taxi stand is located at the front, at the side. For now, let's head into this railway station building of Aachen Hauptbahnhof. This railway station has originally been built in 1905. In the 1940s it has been partially destroyed due to the Second World War, and in the 1950s it has been totally rebuilt. In the early 2000s they started to renovate and update this railway station to the modern day traveler standards. And this here, this is the main concourse. You notice immediately that this is an international railway station. When it comes to vending machines, you will find three different kinds of vending machines. Namely, the DB vending machines for the German state-owned railway company, you can also buy international tickets over there. Arriva for the Netherlands. Little fun fact, these Arriva vending machines can also function in Frisian. Well, let me put it to English, that's easier for everybody. And then the vending machines of the SNCB of the Belgian state-owned railway company. At least that's the French abbreviation, or NMBS. What is the Dutch abbreviation? There's also a special ticket counter desk. Over here you find some more vending machines, but this is only for the German railway company DB. This railway station is not very big, but you might find all the facilities you may expect of a railway station of this size. Lots of places where you can buy some food, some ticket information, a bookshop, or you name it. With basically one entrance and exit and an underground passage to the platforms, it all speaks for itself. If you move towards the platforms, you'll find this big screen that will host information about departing trains. You basically can't go wrong on this. Towards all platforms, you will find obviously stairs, but also escalators and obviously elevators. Within this underground passage, there are some more paper timetables, as you can see over here. Although the digital information about departing trains is very good throughout this railway station. From here on, you will find regional trains to the Netherlands, high-speed trains via Belgium to France, and also high-speed trains that come from Belgium but will go to Frankfurt, and also to Düsseldorf and Duisburg, although those trains will not go on high-speed tracks within Germany. From and to the Netherlands, this is not a really important railway station junction, unless you live in the south of the Netherlands, and then specifically in the south of the province Limburg. There's also another regional train between Liège and Aachen, and that's this train you can see here. That train will go via the Netherlands, and actually it takes more time than the train that we'll be taking today. Even though the other connection is a great regional connection with barrier-free access and free Wi-Fi, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to take that train from the beginning to the final destination. Then on the route Aachen-Liège, you also find the high-speed trains operated by Deutsche Bahn with ICE trains or Eurostar trains, the former Thalys trains. Those trains do have a shorter travel time, simply because they are high-speed trains and also because the high-speed line is in a more straight line. However, when it comes down to ticket pricing, these trains do have totally different ticket fares. For longer journeys, that might be very reasonable for the distance you're traveling, but for short journeys, and especially just the last station in Germany to the first station in Belgium or the other way around, Those trains are really pricey, especially compared to the train that we'll be taking today. I hope you like this video so far. If you do so, or if it's a helpful video to you, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. This helps to influence the algorithm of YouTube, and hopefully this video will pop up a bit higher and can convince more people about a more sustainable way of transportation. If you have some feedbacks, comments, questions, let me know in the comment section. And if you like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, the main focus for this channel is cross-border and long-distance traveling, then hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. But for now, let's continue with this video. Before we take a close look at the interior of the train, let's take a close look at the exterior. And this is our train coming in. It's a locomotive hauled train consisting of Belgian railway class I11. There's one first class carriage, and the first class carriage has been clearly marked apart from the number 1 at the side. By the way, for the second class you find the numbers 2 at the side. There's also an extra yellow stripe above the windows that exactly indicates the first class area. This is pretty common along trains in Europe. I travelled several times on this route, also a month after I shot this trip report, and the second time I was travelling on this route. I also noticed that there was a silence area in the cab car at the total back or the front of the train, depending what way the train is moving. For our train today, there's one older carriage of the type I10. The older carriage hosts some spots for bikes. The ICE here on the right will also go to Liège from Aachen. However, that train started in Frankfurt in Germany and continues its way to Brussels in Belgium. And like I mentioned before, those ICE and Eurostar trains on the same route do really have a way shorter travel time. But if you're only traveling on this section of the route, they're also quite pricey. I'll give some more basic information about this later on in the video. For now, let's take a close look at the interior of our train for today, and I will start off in the oldest carriage. What is the I10 carriage? Actually, this is quite comfortable. And these carriages might be really old school, but I like them. We can also open the windows. As far as I noticed, these carriages will be put out of service in 2033. For these carriages, they basically left some seats out, and this here is the bicycle area. There's quite a big capacity for bikes, more than on the Arriva trains on the same route. However, the Arriva trains that do operate on the same route but via the Netherlands and therefore need a longer travel time, do have barrier-free access. You can't say that of these trains. Within this carriage, all seats do come in a bay composition, so facing each other. Personally, I'm not a big fan of that, but for a shorter journey, it's fine to me. Because the seats are facing each other, between the back ends of the seats you can store quite a lot of luggage as well. That doesn't only count for this train, but for trains in general. I see a lot of people occupying quite a lot of space sometimes, while it's not needed. At the windows there's a table, and right under the table there's a small litter bin. And obviously you also find the overhead luggage racks for your luggage. Within this carriage you won't find sunscreens, however there are curtains right next to the window to block out some sunlight. And since no train tour is complete without showing you the toilets, these here are the toilets in the oldest carriage. These toilets are also pretty old school. You dump everything straight at the track. Well, at least this way you can fertilize the railroad tracks. And also travel lighter, including the train that is lighter. Now let's move on to the next carriage. This is the first class carriage. As you can see here on the left, they used to have a phone booth when they built these trains. These carriages date back from 1995, while the previous carriage dates back from 1987. And this is the first class that comes in a classical 2x1 configuration, like in most European first class trains. There's a mix of airline style or long distance bus seat composition seats and bay seats, so seats facing each other. Screens at the end of the compartments do host basic route information. This is only in French, so I'll get back to this later on in the video. In first class you have wider seats, more legroom, and you also have reading lights integrated within the luggage racks. I also noticed that some of these seats were able to recline, but this is not common for this type of carriages. I also traveled plenty of times in the I11 first class carriages, where the seats couldn't be reclined. And what I personally don't really like is, especially if you have these seats right next to each other, the armrests are not adjustable. For now, let's do a seat tour of the airline style or long distance bus seat composition seats. There's a big and sturdy fold-out table in the seat in front of you, a footrest, a small litter bin at the sides. And like I already mentioned, these armrests are not adjustable. I can recline these seats, and even if I fully recline them, I do have enough legroom, and I have to add up to this, I'm a pretty tall boy. At the moment the seats do face each other, I have to say I found the legroom not that great, to be honest. However, first class is in general pretty good available. So, well, you don't have to worry that the first class is completely full and you will bump into the knees of the person sitting opposite from you. I mean, this train consists of 4 carriages, and 1 carriage is first class, so 1/4 of the train, so 25%, consists of the first class. Let's head on to the second class, what you find most, and this is the I-11 carriages. There's a mix of both airline style seats and seats facing each other, so bay seats. And as you can see, the seat layout comes in a 2x2 configuration, so 2 seats on both sides of the aisle. The cab car or control car totally at the front or the back of the train, well, this is supposed to be the accessible area. I don't think this is really accessible, so if you're traveling in a wheelchair, I honestly don't think that this is a great train. Also, there's no barrier-free access, so you need to ask for assistance at the railway station. This here is the bigger accessible toilet. What is rather big, but for an accessible toilet on a train, I definitely saw bigger toilets. During some other rides I had on this route, I noticed that this area of the train was also being mentioned as the silent area. What's not that crazy because the driver is right at the end of this carriage if it moves into a certain direction. That this is a silent area has been marked crystal clear within the open compartment as well. You basically can't miss that. For the bay seats, so seats facing each other, there is a table right at the side near the window, and right below the table there's a small litter bin. Near all windows, both in first and second class, you'll find a sunscreen. And right next to the windows there are small coat hangers. Obviously, there are overhead luggage racks located throughout the train, where you can store quite a lot of luggage. And like I already mentioned, but I can't repeat this enough, and not only for this train but for trains in general. At the moment the back ends of the seats are right next to each other like here, you can store quite a lot of luggage over there as well. For now, let's do a seat tour of the airline style or long distance bus seat composition seats. There's a footrest right at the bottom, and there's, just like the first class carriage I showed you earlier on, quite a sturdy fold out table in the seat in front. At the side there's a small litter bin, and obviously you also have the sunscreens and the coat hangers, just like what I showed you before. And even though the amount of power sockets in these carriages is in general not that high, I noticed one time when I traveled with this train that they had a lot of power sockets as well. While you will find this normally in these types of carriages only at the very end of the compartments. This is mainly for the cleaning staff to vacuum the trains, for example. And once again, no train tour is complete without showing you the toilets. Well, I showed you the accessible toilets and the toilets in the oldest carriage, but not the toilets you find most on board of this train. And these are the regular toilets. Pretty fine, nothing special. Before I show you the views from the train, a quick look on the map of the situation. This map is displaying the maximum speeds in kilometers per hour of the railroad lines. Right now we are here in Aachen in Germany and will be traveling to Liège in Belgium, along this railway line, what is the conventional railway line. I already mentioned the high-speed line several times in this video, and that's this railroad line. Then you also find trains along this route over here via Maastricht in the Netherlands. Those trains do obviously have a longer travel time, and I do have a trip report on those trains as well. You can check it out in the description of this video. For now I'll show you some views from the train, and before we hit the most scenic part, I'll give some more feedback about tickets and my opinion about this train in general. I'll start with the ticket prices for these trains. You can book the tickets both via the German and the Belgian state-owned railway company, and if you book only the train ticket for this specific train, it might also be that you have a longer railway journey with a long distance train in Germany, for example, and then you have different kind of fares, but I'm only talking about the full fares for this specific train from Aachen to Liège or the other way around. The price differences are quite big between the Belgians and the Germans. And I understand there might be a small price difference of maybe 10-15% max, And especially if there are different currencies, there might be a different calculation of exchange rates. But this here is both the same currency and having different prices is not really working together on a European level. And about working together on a European level, I do have some very critical feedback on this as well later on in the video. But the prices. If I buy a full fare ticket, second class, via the Belgians, it's €11.10. Pretty often there are promotional fares as well, and a return ticket might be the same price. Depends a little bit on what kind of promotions you have, etc. In first class via the Belgians, it will cost me €14.60. That's the same price as a second class ticket via the Germans. And a first class ticket via the German railway company will cost me a whopping €21.30 for this route. Well, I understand some price differences, but this is really unacceptable and not explainable if you're talking about working together on a European level and integrating more ticket systems. And then you obviously also have many promotional fares, so the price differences might even get bigger. I'm not digging in that too much though this time, but I think this is really unacceptable. That's basically the short story. Once again, the prices I'm mentioning are without any discounts. Therefore, my favorite website to book train tickets turns out to be the best website again on this. Basically, I like Trainline a lot, and this simply has to do with the fact that they have several booking systems of different railway companies linked to that system. And in this situation, both the German and the Belgians have their system linked to the system of Trainline. And this includes the high-speed trains. However, on Trainline you really have to give in the correct railway station in Liège. What is Liège-Guillemins? Otherwise, you only get to see the buses if you just enter Liège. And my short conclusion about this regional connection that has been launched at the timetable of 2024, so at the end of 2023, I like this new connection, and I think it's absolutely a good improvement compared to the previous situation with the regional train between Belgium and Germany. Although personally I love to see that the intercity between Oostend and Eupen won't terminate at Eupen anymore, but will continue to Aachen in Germany. That will be absolutely great, and maybe also good for tourism along the Belgian coast. However, there are really some big points of criticism about this route, because it has been launched exactly at the moment that the new train between Liège and Aachen via Maastricht has also been launched. And for that train, especially for the Belgian section, it took a long time before that train could operate on that railroad line. And basically it just seemed like there was not a lot of cooperation from the Belgian side, and that's the least I could say. And by launching this new service exactly at the timetable change that the other train would also launch, and the way they put this in the timetable, that it basically doesn't make any sense to take the Arriva train between Liège and Aachen. What's also quite suspicious to me. Well, this altogether just gives me the feeling that the Belgians are absolutely not cooperative on international railway traveling within Europe. And they are very protective to themselves. What is not in favor for anyone, and especially not the railway passengers. I really like to dig in deeper on this, and I have some more examples of this. I don't have a very big reach with this YouTube channel, unfortunately, but if you have a bigger reach or you're a journalist and you want to make a topic about this, I'd love to give you some more examples and feedback, and maybe we can highlight this, and there might be some political things moving and changing on this topic, because what I really want to encourage is better and easier international and long distance railway traveling, because this is why I have this YouTube channel. To show you what it's like to travel on a more sustainable way for long distances and international journeys. Because if there's one thing I care about a lot myself, it's sustainability. And if I like something a lot, then it's traveling. So, 1 and 1 is 2. For now I just stop talking and show you the views from the train, and this will be along the most scenic section of the route. welcome to Liège in Belgium. This is a beautiful railway station. I already featured it in another video like in the pandemic times, and I will do it again because I will take the train from here to Aachen again, but then via Maastricht in the Netherlands. That's not the most obvious way to take the train between on this route. Probably already told you a little bit about that in this video. Anyway, I hope you liked this video or this has been helpful to you. If so, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. And this helps to convince more people about a more sustainable way of transportation, because this helps to influence the algorithm on YouTube. And like I already mentioned, if you have some questions, some feedback, even if you just want to say hello, feel free to leave a comment. I try to answer all the questions as good as possible. And well, of course, if you'd like to see more trip reports about more sustainable ways of transportation, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done this already. Before we really end up this video, one last thing. Once again, thank you for watching. If you are interested in other trip reports, of course you can subscribe to the channel to see new videos coming up. And you can also find other videos on this channel. Apart from that, in the description of this video on YouTube, you find a link to a map, and there you can find all videos as well. But then on a map, see you on the next video.